Hello, everyone. It's so easy to introduce someone that I have grown to love and appreciate in terms of her work and her efforts. And I can assure you that I know enough about her that she cares nothing about what I'm about to say about her. Her work will speak for itself. But it is my honor to introduce Josephine Lowery, a former attorney who was named one of 25 women who shaped the state in 2020 by This is Alabama, and a Vulcan game changer in 2022. And she is the co-founder of College Choice Foundation. Because she grew up in poverty, and I think that that sets the premise, the basis for the work that she gets to do today. I will tell you that I was so impressed to learn, Josephine, that 99% of her clients are people of color. And as busy as I know that she is, if some of you might remember, I had this interest of bringing this young lady who was so excited about coming to America from Burkina Faso, Ariane. And I asked Josephine to participate, and she did. The country went through a coup, and she still did. And finally, we were able to bring Ariane here. She is at Adrian College in Michigan. And what makes you feel so good about all of that, Josephine, and you know this and I know this because we get the reports, that she has produced a 4.0 for the 2 semesters that she's been here. And she speaks only a cupful of English. And my grandson would be lucky to clock a 2.0 here. I mean, just go figure that kind of stuff. Just go and figure that. But she just spends countless hours with this, and I'm a witness. I mean, I wouldn't miss a year presenting to this group, working with college applications, touring colleges, helping with financial aid applications, hosting college readiness camps and workshops, and then running the day-to-day operations of College Choice. Josephine also writes all of the grants required to procure funding for College Choice. The time that she spends in this effort is absolutely phenomenal to me. And she spends a good bit of time talking with other audiences on the work that she does so as to multiply the effort. Prior to delving into nonprofit work, Lowery practiced law here at Baltimore Bingham and also in Atlanta with King and Kaminsky. She has always been entrenched in her civic and community work, most notably the work, Josephine, that you did with Homewood school system, and also having spent 7 years with the Service Guild. Impact is what this is really all about. When you change what you think, Miss Celeste Armstrong, you change what you do. Josephine, that's what you're doing with these young lives. A mind that has been stretched by a new idea can never again return to its original dimensions. And when you look at the faces of these young people, and I've had a chance to talk, Harold, with you and other parents who had kids who are now on a trajectory that would not be, were it not for the efforts put forth by Josephine and her team. She is her team for the most part. Now, here's where I'm so impressed. Josephine graduated Phi Beta Kappa from the University of South Swanee, cum laude, as well as the University of Georgia School of Law, cum laude. Impressive. In her spare time, and I'm thinking, what spare time? Where do you, spare time? In her spare time, she enjoys spending time with her husband and 4 children. Listen to this: running, cycling, traveling, walking her dogs, and I met both of them, boating, reading, and watching movies. You'll have to see it to believe it. I can't wait, and you should anticipate a wonderful presentation today. Josephine, thank you. Please join me in welcoming up Josephine Lowery.
time. JW, do I get an extra 6 minutes since we started 6 minutes late? Okay, well, Larry, thank you so much. I feel like y'all probably don't need to hear from me now, and I think Larry should just give the presentation. But he has been a true friend and just really encouraging in this whole process. So to be introduced by Larry, it doesn't get any better than that. JW, wouldn't be standing up here if it weren't for you for a lot of reasons, but thank you for allowing us to speak today and present. It's an honor to be here as a Kiwanian, to be here to present to y'all, but also to have our students here to do a panel. So I'm very excited for them. So I'm going to try to go quickly because really y'all don't want to hear from me. Y'all want to hear from them. So, however, there are some fun things to show. And I would like to start with a video, a short video, because I really do think it just shows in all levels what we're trying to do with these awesome, amazing kids.
Hi, my name is Josephine Lowery, and I'm the Executive Director and co-founder of College Choice Foundation. We started College Choice Foundation in 2014 to help high-achieving, motivated students from under-resourced, disadvantaged backgrounds navigate the college admissions process to find their best and most affordable college fit.
Hi, my name is Angela Lee.
Hello, I'm James Vandergraaf.
And I'm a part of the College Choice Foundation.
In 2020, our 19 seniors were accepted into over 100 colleges and received over $12 million in scholarship awards and financial aid. Students attend colleges statewide and across the country. Schools like Yale, Washington University in St. Louis, Vanderbilt, Berea College, Boston College, UAB, and many more. The money we invest in our students covers the cost of a laptop if needed, ACT test prep, college resume preparation, application expenses, interview preparation, college visits for students and their parents, and indirect expenses incurred while attending college.
Being on campus and going to the different colleges and meeting these people in person is so much better than just emailing or talking on the phone. Because being in person, you actually get a feel of that school. You actually get the vibe that the current staff members and students give off. You get to see if it's the right fit for you. And without one of these college choices, the College Choice Foundation, I wouldn't have been able to make that clear distinction between if it was the right school for me or not.
I'm grateful for College Choice because I have two awesome mentors that has helped me through this whole process so much, and I can't even think about not being in this program, especially being a senior. I just can't even imagine my life without them, and I don't even want to, because this whole process, I know me and my mom could not have done before, and it just made me feel so special that they believe in me and trust in me, and trying to help me get out into the world and be the best I can do. So it's more than just a program. It's really a family that truly wants to see you win and help you through at any time, any day throughout the whole process.
So I think the hard work gives me a feeling of greatness on the inside, and it makes me feel meaningful. And I know that it'll all pay off not only for me, but for my family and so many others that come behind me as well.
Thank you for taking time to watch that for us. I never get tired of it, although we probably do need to update it in our spare time. But so I want to get started. Let's see if my slide works. College Choice, I didn't have the idea. One of my friends who was helping me with my oldest daughter when she was applying for college, Dr. Mark Bateman, he actually had the idea and inspiration for College Choice Foundation. And he came to me and presented it to me and was like, I really want to help kids who don't have the same opportunities and resources as our own kids did during the college admissions process. And as Larry mentioned, I grew up on free lunch and food stamps. My mom was an alcoholic and I could control my grades, and so I did. But I thought I'd really just go to the local community college or state school. And I had a guidance counselor who came to me and was like, hey, why don't you think about some other places? I can help you with this. I can waive your application fees. And I was like, well, okay, had no idea. And ended up getting a full scholarship to Swanee. Never visited. That's another story. Don't pick a school that you've never visited if you can help it. It was the perfect place for me though. God was looking out for me, and a full ride to Vanderbilt, Emory, and Birmingham Southern. So I did choose Swanee, went on to law school, and fast forward, I really just, and when Mark came to me with the idea, it just really resonated with me because it was my chance to play that kindness forward that my guidance counselor had done for me. So we started College Choice in 2014, and I'm proud to say that our first student's father, a dear friend, Mr. Harold Williams, is here today. And if it weren't for Harold trusting us and allowing us to come to him with this idea and this, proposal, basically to say, we kind of might not really know what we're doing, but let's help your daughter with ACT prep. And so it started with Michelle, and I am proud to say, almost 10 years later, we are now at 138 scholars and about to admit probably 50 to 60 more. So we've gone from 2 students to nearly 200 in 10 years. And I will shout out to JW again, because we were only helping students predominantly at first at Homewood, which is where my kids were. And we knew the system. And then a couple of years into it, we're like, we really want to move into the city of Birmingham and see there's a great need there for our services. And so I had our first student in Birmingham was Jillian Jolly, and she's here today. And Jillian got into Yale. So the next year we had a lot of applications from the city of Birmingham high schools. And I had no way of helping those kids. We had very little money, very few people. And JW, who we had met a few years earlier, was like, hey, just let me know what you need. And he came through with mentors and ACT prep. And so after that year, I think it was 2019, we then every year have had, this year was a record year. We had over 140 applications, and that is only working with the city of Birmingham and Homewood High School. And we, I think, had 100 that actually finished their application, and we were getting through interviewing about 70 people. So, so that's how we got started. Our students attend college all across the country. You can see this list. There's about 35 colleges that we have students at. And I'll explain in a few minutes why we look at schools all across the country. But it is really impressive to see some of these schools that our students are going to, both in the state of Alabama and outside. This might be one of my favorite slides. If y'all can read, but I'm gonna call it out to you, some of the things that we're really most proud of. In 10 years, our scholars, like I said, we're about 140 right now before we add our new class. They've amassed more than $86 million in scholarships and financial aid to all the schools they've applied to. I think that's pretty huge. So clearly, our goal is to get these kids, these amazing kids, they've done the work. We're just here to give them, a few resources, some exposure they might not have had, some college visits, but they've done the hard work. And our goal is that they can go to college and come out without having to borrow a whole lot of money. We're about fit, but affordability is a big part of that fit, because if you come out having borrowed, more than $30,000 for a 4-year education, that's going to be a crippling impact for most people. So I'd like to, I don't have my glasses, so I'm hoping I'm reading this right, but our kids, about a third of our students actually have to borrow any money for college. And of those a third of those students, the average amount is about $3,000 a year. So I think the national average is about $28,000 over 4 years. So we're well below national average for the students that actually even borrow money in our program or have to borrow money. I think though, the thing I'm most proud of right now, and of course this might change and I might need the little gavel here to knock on something, but we've had, of the students that have started college, and that's about 90 kids, not one has dropped out of college in 10 years. So I think that really speaks highly to our goal of finding a great place for them to, or helping them find the best place for them to be in school, because they end up at a school that they really want to be at, and they want to finish and graduate from there. So again, that, we never know when that might change, but right now I'm really proud of that fact, and we'll continue to try to help kids get to that point of finding their best fit. We have 8 graduates so far. They're either in graduate school or working diligently. Our numbers are low with graduates because we started small. So next year's class will probably have over 20 college graduates, and we're excited to see where they land. And then our average GPA is about a 3.2, and more than half, 63% of our students want to come back to Birmingham and make an impact. So I think that is really important for them to come back and play forward what we're doing. And then finally, I have to shout out that we have 3 Kiwanis Youth of the Year. Destiny Nelson Miles, she was the first Birmingham Promise graduate in 2 years, and then 2 others who married Austria and Sydney Cook. Okay, so real quick, because again, I want to put most of our time for our students to talk, but how does this all work? You know, how are we able to do what we're doing to help kids find an affordable college? We do, like I said, we're only with the City of Birmingham high schools, public high schools in Homewood. We do have a GPA requirement. We look for a rigor of classwork because we're trying to get these kids, you know, a lot of the schools that will give them a great financial aid package are really elite schools that are hard to get into. So we look for students who want that, who are working really hard, who are motivated, who want the resources we're offering so that we can help them get to the point in life that they want to get to. We have mentors. Everybody gets a mentor. You might recognize one of these mentors. So Ziggy's also here. Our mentors, you know, usually spend once a week working with students. They can form really close relationships. They're really important because we can't do this alone. So we rely on a lot of volunteers. And so our mentors are awesome to help out. And then let's see, our students apply to about 30 to 40 schools, which is a lot. I don't know, raise your hand if you've ever been helping one of your own kids with college admissions or can think back that far. It's a lot. There's a lot that goes into this process. And so having someone helping you makes it easier. We help our students with laptop computers. We partner with Best Buy. They all get a MacBook Air if they need one, because you really can't do this on your phone. And people have tried, doesn't work out so well. So we do camps. This is one of our camps to help kids get ready for the college admissions process. They get a lot of resume, essay coaching, fiscal responsibility. We team building. It's fun. It's a lot though. ACT test prep, I think, is one of the most important things we do. If people get free ACT prep all year, 40 to 60 hours on average. Our ACT goes up about 4 points for our students. And the national average, I believe in Alabama in 2022 was an 18, and our students have a 22 average ACT score after being in our program for a year. I think that speaks highly of that necessary resource. And we actually the last year added that if you actually finished your application, you got at least, I think it was 12 hours with all pencils down of free ACT prep. So we're trying to make an impact beyond just with the students we work with in Birmingham. College visits. Okay, so if I could just do college visits, then I wouldn't do anything else with this organization because they are the most fun, but they are also the most transformative and probably one of the most important things to give these students exposure. I mean, we go to Minnesota, we go to Boston, we have been to Michigan, and I mean, one of my students was probably going to Lawson State, and he got introduced to St. Olaf College in Minnesota, and now he's going to play football in Minnesota, and he's thrilled. So it's really, you've got to be on campus and experience it to see whether that's where you want to be. And the students will talk more about that in a few minutes. And we're fortunate that we're able to take parents on those college visits, which I think Jillian's mom was one of the first ones to go, and the parents need to know where their kids are going to school. If their parents can't see and feel comfortable, then we might, we're not doing our job, because they need to know that their kid is going to be in a great place for them. So we're lucky that on certain trips we can take parents. Okay, trying to talk fast. I'm sorry. I hope I'm not talking too fast though. But financial aid and scholarships. So you're probably wondering, well, okay, so what are you doing? Are you getting them scholarships? How is this actually working that college is so affordable for our kids? And so we target about 100 schools all throughout the country that meet 100% need. And what that means is if a student like Jillian gets into Yale, then Yale is going to cover her full need. And in some cases, that's everything. It depends on the school. So a school like Vanderbilt all the Ivy Leagues, Emory, some more elite schools it's gonna be a full ride basically for a student that gets in from our program. Now, a school like Swanee, which I love to say they're meeting full need. I don't know for how long, but they have been for several years. They may have a small loan, the federal loan, in their financial aid package. So in a lot of cases, it might be less expensive for a student to go to Boston College than to stay in state. But now with the Birmingham Promise, which we absolutely love, our students that don't really want to go that far away from home or feel comfortable going to a predominantly white college, they have the option of staying in state, and it's affordable for them because of the Birmingham Promise, which I won't get into, but the Birmingham Promise is a commitment for any student graduated from Birmingham high schools to have last dollar tuition met. So it really has been really reassuring for me running this program to have it so that kids can have an option to stay in state as well. But at the end of the day, our goal is to, help them navigate this, apply to a lot of schools, because college admissions is crazy. It changes every year. It's about to change again. And we really just don't know who's going to get into what school. I'll have kids get into Emory, not get into Tulane. I'll have kids get into Boston, not get into Wake Forest. And so we just say, hey, you're going to apply to all these schools, and then we're going to see where spaghetti hits and lands, and we'll go from there. So then we help them make that decision. We sit down with all our families and go over the financial aid awards. I do have kids that don't do what I particularly want them to do, make a decision that I think is best for them, but I'm not the person making, at the end of the day, I don't make that call. It's a family decision, and we are here to support whatever that decision is. We realized a couple of years ago that, hey, this is great. We're getting these kids into awesome places. And then what? I mean, we're done. We just walk away, say, hey, good luck with that. Good luck going to school in Boston. Kind of cold in Boston, but you're going to be fine. So we realized we wanted to help our kids through college and graduate school. So our kids could be in our program anywhere from 6 to 9 years, depending on what their higher education looks like. And we support them. I mean, we don't have a ton of money, but we support them with helping. We do this camp, so we prepare them, for what it means to go to office hours, or, hey, don't take every credit card that comes in the mail and apply for that credit card. We do everything we possibly can to prepare them to be successful in college. And I'm not going to go into this a whole lot because our students can talk better, but one of the things is, we never wanted our kids to feel like they were the stepchild when they got to these schools. We wanted them to feel like, hey, I earned my spot here. I worked really hard to be here, and I want to feel like I belong here. So one of the things we do is we help them with their dorms. We get donations all year, and dorm decor is just amazing to give us so many wonderful items for dorms. And we have we just had it the other day, a fun little shopping day where they come and pick out stuff for their dorms, refrigerators, microwaves, and it really does help them kind of start college ready. Real quick, the other things we might do in college, help with emergencies. We fly our students who go up north back and forth for Christmas to get there, to come home. I had a student last year who got into Boston College, and the dean called me like the day before the decision date and said, hey, she hasn't accepted. What's going on here? I said, well, I don't know. Let me call her. And she was a Hispanic young woman, and her parents weren't citizens. And she said, well, I can't go. And I said, well, what do you mean you can't go? Yes, you can. We've talked about this. It's a full ride. She said, no, you don't understand. I cannot get to Boston. My family cannot get me to Boston. So I can't go to college in Boston. And I was like, okay, well, we can do something with that. We'll get you a mentor to take you. And we did. We flew her up there, and someone moved her into her dorm, and she's doing great. So we try to cover that gap that they don't have covered by their financial aid. So when they need laundry, they don't have money for laundry, or their meal plan runs short, we cover those costs as we're able to. And then how do we do all that? Well, a lot of work, but I am proud to say that our operating expenses are only, if I can read my chart here, 6%. So we spend about 6% of our budget on salaries, which is really just me, and I have an assistant director. There's only 2 paid employees for College Choice. We have a ton of volunteers. We have almost 100 volunteers that help make this work. And then we spend about 10% on fundraising, and I guess about 84% on programming. So that's my goal. I want all our money to go back to the kids. I don't want it. I I just want it all to go back to the kids. So we worked really hard to make that happen. And then we're really fortunate. We have about almost 100,000 in in-kind donations. So just discounted ACT prep, people that volunteer services throughout the year. And then also the dorm decor. So it adds up, and it really does help with our doing this, our being able to do this and afford to do it. I want to call out our awesome grant agencies. As Larry mentioned, that's my least favorite thing to do with College Choice, as those of you who write grants probably can appreciate, but they are so necessary. And then our in-kind donors are also really critical to what we're doing. So we continue to do, we continue to grow, and we continue to need support. So we're grateful for them. Okay, gosh, I'm done because I want them to come up. So I'm going to announce or introduce our panel. I'm going to first introduce our panelists, who's then going to let the students introduce themselves. But thank you very much. It's been such a pleasure to be here, and we're going to go quickly. Mr. Carl Thomas is our board member, and he thought he retired from Berea about 40. Well, he was there for 40 years as associate admissions director and the coordinator of minority services. And then when he retired, I promptly said, no, come on and help me. I need help. And so I recruited him to be a mentor. And then he has since then advanced to being on the board and gets drugged to things like this. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Carl, and we will move on to the more fun part of this.
As our panelists come up, I just want to correct Josephine. You don't volunteer, you voluntold. And that sounds more like, what happens, but you enjoy working with her because as has been shared, she has so much energy, commitment, and dedication to serving students throughout the city of Birmingham and Homewood. It's been a wonderful opportunity for me to be a part of College Choice Foundation. Since I retired, I was thinking that I was going to go and just enjoy myself. My wife and I had moved into a 55 plus community, and there were many activities that we were involved in, and then I get the phone call. So here I am. And I am really excited for being here. I would like to thank JW for having us here, our panelists. And we have scholars here who essentially joined our program because they wanted to find the best possible college fit. And you'll hear that word a lot, and it comes out a lot because we realize that College Choice Foundation, we only have an opinion. We don't make the choices. The scholars make the choices. So as moderator, I would like to ask a series of questions to our panelists, and the panelists will respond to the questions on how they were able to bridge into College Choice program, bridge through the program, and bridge out of the program. And we'll first begin by asking them to introduce themselves, state your name, your high school, college, class year, major, and career ambitions.
Good morning, good afternoon, I believe now. My name is Kylan Benson. I'm a rising sophomore at Harvard University, studying government.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Jillian Jolly, and I am a recent graduate of Yale University. It still feels weird saying that, but I majored in psychology, and I was a pre-med and pre-law student. And I will be, I'm aspiring to be an attorney now.
Wow, super hard for me to follow up behind these two amazing young people, but I'm Justin Smith. I'm a current senior at Boston College, majoring in political science, career ambitions, correct? And my career ambitions are to hopefully one day run for president, but maybe 3 years from now, maybe your future Congress member from Alabama. Let's hope for an extra district.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Damiana Dawson. They'll call me Ziggy the whole time. That's just my nickname. I graduated from Carver High School in Birmingham. Now I attend UAB. I'm a rising senior, majoring in social work, and my ambition is to be a medical social worker at UAB.
Thank you. The first question, how did you get introduced to College Choice Foundation? And were there other similar programs you were considering? And how has it impacted you? And we'll start with you, Jill.
Well, now it feels like sometimes I wake up and it seems like it was just yesterday. I was meeting Miss Josephine for this first time, and then other days I remember that I've been out of high school for a minute now. But I remember in particular, I was walking down the hall. I went to Ramsey High School, and I just saw a poster on the wall, and I didn't read the name of the program. All I saw was free ACT prep, and that will take you on college visits. And that just, the light bulb went off in my mind. And I just remember starting the process, just wanting to ensure that my mother didn't have to pay for me to go to school because I knew she wasn't going to be able to afford it, because I had 2 younger siblings, and I didn't want to cast that burden on her. I wanted to do my part. So I heard another teacher, I think Ms. Bloodworth, that is now a mentor with the program. She mentioned it in one of our classes, and I said, oh, I'm going to apply to that program. I went to the interview, met Ms. Josephine, Mr. Mark, and Ms. Cassandra, and they just really poured into me from our first conversation. I remember Mr. Mark saying, you can do anything. Like, you just don't know the power that you possess. And having someone say those things to me and believe in me, how I believed in myself and how my family believed in me, meant the world to me. And it honestly, you say the impact, it changed my life. I had no idea that I would have been able to attend a university like Yale, or that they would pay for me to attend there. And I have left with $0. I look at my account, like I used to check it just to make sure, like, oh, $0. Like, that means I don't owe anything, you know? So truly changed my life and just allowed me to know that you can dream anything. Anything is possible. And when you have good, people on your side and people who instill different things and beliefs in you and who believe in you, anything is possible. So to answer your next question, I didn't answer that. I kind of skipped over it. I was not aware of any programs like College Choice before I applied and joined the program. I didn't even have high school counselors that really kind of broke down the admissions process, how Ms. Josephine and Ms. Cassandra did. So they were just truly, I think the program speaks for itself from what she said in her presentation. Having a mentor that walks you through the entire process was just, I'm filled with gratitude, and my family is also filled with gratitude for their help. And I would have never been able to be sitting here and saying that I am a graduate now of Yale University if it hadn't been for College Choice.
Thank you. Ziggy.
I think for me, I had met Jillian on the superintendent's advisory council back when Dr. Heron was the superintendent. And I saw that she was graduating Ramsey High School. I think she was 2 years before me. And so I was like, okay, she's going to Yale. Like, I've never seen anything like that. And so because I had already known Jillian from something else that we were doing together, seeing that she was going to Yale and that this program helped her, I wanted to know what they were doing. I wanted to know how they could help me as well. And I also was very fortunate to already have an application from one of my counselors at school. And so I say, seeing Jillian and looking up to someone like Jillian as a sophomore in high school also pushed me to go ahead and apply. And then I got to meet Ms. Josephine and Ms. Cassandra, and they actually talked about, like, we're going to help you figure out this process, because I grew up in a single parent home and my mom didn't have what it took to explain to me, what does it mean to apply to college? Like, what is this process about? We never talked about how to afford college. I didn't learn a lot of these things until I met Josephine and College Choice. And I can't imagine being here without them. My mom don't know half of how much they've helped us, just because she don't understand, like, this whole process and how much it takes to get a student to college, and not just getting them to college, but just the admissions process as a whole. Essays, ACT score, all those things weren't conversations I was having in the home, but until I met Josephine and College Choice Foundation, they were able to help me kind of navigate through those things. So I also didn't hear about another program that was doing what College Choice is doing at that time.
Thank you, Ziggy. You are amazing. The next question is, second question is for Kylan and Justin. Can you describe or give examples of resources or support College Foundation has provided to you?
Can I provide examples?
Sure.
Okay. There are so many examples of the amount of resources that College Choice provided to me. Throughout the college process, as Ms. Josephine described, they start us off with the college camp, Epic College Camp, that prepares us for what the year will be like from your senior year. So they prepare us with essay help, resume help, all of these things to really make us competitive applicants. Furthermore, they do ACT prep throughout the school year. And with the ACT prep College Choice provided, my score rose 3 points. And so that made me a very much more competitive applicant. And I can say like without College Choice's help, I wouldn't be as competitive for like schools like Harvard as a applicant. Furthermore, College Choice Foundation, the biggest thing and one of the most impactful things for me are definitely the college visits. They fly us out, they pay all expenses so that we can go up to see these schools. And being able to see these schools in person makes all the difference. I would not be at Harvard today if it wasn't for Miss Josephine making me get on the plane up to Boston to see the school. And it completely changed my perception 180 degrees. Like, I'm so thankful now because I was able to find my best fit because of the resources and the opportunities that College Choice provided.
So first of all, excellent question. So I'll give 2 quick stories, but I'll make sure to make them quick for the sake of time. So my first story is back in 2020, it was COVID year. I had never visited Boston. I wish Miss Josephine would have gave me the advice she gave to you guys about not picking a school you haven't visited before. All I knew about Boston was that it was a very historical city, a lot of history, and it was very cold. And I learned that from Google. And when I arrived in Boston, it was pretty much dead smack in the center of fall, approaching wintertime. And I would say Halloween, October 31st of 2020, I woke up to a snowstorm. My immediate words, Mom and Miss Josephine, please don't get me. But I opened the door going to class and I said, hell no. And I honestly, I thought I was prepared. I thought I had brought the perfect coat and gloves and hats. But truth be told, the things we use here in Alabama are not well suited for New England winter. And I couldn't think of anybody else to call. You know, similar to Damiana, I was raised up in a single parent household. And I'm like, oh my God, my mom just bought me a coat. How can I call and say, hey, this coat is not working, ma'am? So fortunately, I had Miss Josephine and a whole host of other mentors through College Choice. And I can guarantee you within that same day, maybe not even within the next hour, I had a coat, I had money to go buy gloves, and I even had a few extra dollars to buy me some Chick-fil-A. A second story I absolutely love to tell is I was not the traditional applicant to College Choice. Going through high school, my GPA was definitely not a 3.7, but it wasn't too far behind. But I truthfully didn't feel like I met the mark. Miss Josephine, she sought me out. I guess I was a superstar at the time, I like to claim. And after our first meeting, I can guarantee you guys, within that same week, I had not an internship, but I would say more so like a fellowship with Senator Doug Jones. And that led me to being the person to reform the state Democratic Party. I led protests in front of the White House. I wouldn't be Mr. President or who I am today if it was not for College Choice and the things that they provided me and my peers with. So that's my nice way of making my story short, I hope.
Thank you. Yes, it is. With due respect to the hard stop for Kiwanis, we have a list of questions, but I am going to go to one more and then open up for questions that you may have about our scholars. This is for everyone. How do you plan to make an impact on the world? And does this include returning to Birmingham?
I'll begin with this one. In the introductions, I forgot to state my career intentions. So I intend to embark on a career in public service. I'm not sure if that includes running for office or working in government, but currently right now, this summer I'm interning in the City of Birmingham Mayor's office. And it's really been very foundational in terms of like grounding my view and my perspective in terms of my future. And the College Choice Foundation has been very impactful in terms of like helping me pick a school such as Harvard, where the exposure and the resources and the opportunities are just so vast. And so, okay, Ms. Josephine wants me to tell this story. This summer, I'll be in Turkey for 2 weeks as a part of a program that I was nominated by one of my professors, Henry Louis Gates, and it'll be an international research program and leadership. And so I'm excited for that. And so like, those are the type of like opportunities that, you know, we're being exposed to at these type of schools that we're applying to. And so in terms of like these opportunities just in my first year at college have definitely like shaped my perspective, And I plan to like reap everything that I can to return back home to Birmingham after graduation. I'm not sure how soon, but eventually I'll be back in Birmingham trying to make a change in my community.
Thank you, Kylie. Others?
Okay. Well, so I do know for sure that I will return to Birmingham, similar to Colin. I don't know how soon. As of now, I'm kind of ingraining myself in Massachusetts state politics. So I've been crafting legislation and leading protests. But I do know, and I do know, I don't know when, but I will return to Birmingham, run for Congress, and hopefully make a difference in every one of our lives that's present in this room today.
I'm making everyone go before me. I apologize.
If I could take a quick second to kind of tell a story about a time that I went with Josephine to do, she talked about, she write all the grants for college choice. And as a junior in college, as a social worker, they talk about grant writing and how you can work with different nonprofits, and you would most likely have to be the one to grant write, or just even if you go into private practice or whatever you do as a social worker, there are opportunities that you may come across writing grants. And Josephine took me down to where was it? To Jefferson County District Attorney's office, and we sat down and I actually got to see the process of her trying to get a grant and talk about college choice and the things that they needed. And as a social work major, I was able to look at it and say, I can do this. If this is what this is about, I feel like I'm passionate enough to do this. And one of the questions that he asked me was, will you return to HIP college choice? And in that moment, I was challenged in my mind to say, I want to do this. And so I'm in Birmingham because I go to UAB. But the impact that I would like to make is also through college choice. And I don't know if that means helping Josephine Grant write a little bit or whatever she needs, but I want to pour back into this great organization. So
It's hard to come up with a response after all of these great responses. And I think as I've graduated, I've been thinking about this a lot. And I think my definition or answer to what impact I would like to have has changed a lot. But I think what remains constant or remains the same is that I want to serve others. I want to be a servant leader and give back. And right now that is going to be through law. Maybe in a few years that will be in the medical field. But I would definitely like to help address different racial, economic, and health disparities that we see in society. And I would love to come back to Birmingham and my hometown of Bessemer, Alabama, and really work to revitalize different neighborhoods that need them and being a voice for marginalized communities and just helping to do my part in whatever way I can with using the law, because I think education and the law are two of the common denominators to making our society better.
Thank you, panelists. Can we give them a round of applause? We may have time for one, possibly two questions. One? No. Okay, thank you, JW. Yes, ma'am.
Well, so a couple of you mentioned the support at home. Do you feel like you have to have that support at home to make this happen, or is this something that really somebody that has the discipline and you can help?
I'll answer it. So I come from a single parent home, and in high school, I was introduced to, or somebody recommended me to the superintendent's advisory council thing. And so these aren't things that my mom was a part of, or these weren't things that my mom encouraged me to do. I wanted different from the lifestyle that I came from, how I grew up as a child. I just had the willingness to want different for my own life. And so personally, I feel like college choice is enough support. I came here today with the support of college choice. I don't have a family member in the room. Well, Justin and Jillian are very good friends of mine, but I feel like it takes what's in you to do it. I don't necessarily need, the support at home because of how supportive college choice has been, and I can trust them. So.
And I guess I can kind of piggyback off that, because while you bring up like not having, I guess, the familial kind of support, I think having a program like College Choice that becomes your secondary family or your extended family, bringing in your family members. I know people who have now, they have good relationships with their parents because of College Choice and like them reaching out and asking their parents for help. So I think just presenting the opportunity really opens the door for that support that some people don't really have because our parents just don't know all of the specifics of the admissions process. So once they learn with us, it becomes a more collective effort. So I think it's a little bit of both, but I think College Choice definitely bridges the gap in that way by bringing in the support that some people may not have originally. And then of course, if you're a stellar student like Daviana, you know, having that kind of personal motivation to do good, it all ends up working out.
And I'll add just as well, College Choice Foundation is not only empowering to its scholars, it's also empowering to our own family members. You know, even if I can give a personal testimony, my mom, who's present in the audience, she'll probably like to shout out, hey, Mom. She has, by me being empowered to go far off to school, my mom has decided to go back to college. So, and stories like that, I don't think I'm the only one. I think it's also other College Choice students whose parents have decided to go back to school after seeing their own kids go off and achieve their wildest dreams. So I would say while for family support may not be a requirement, College Choice Foundation is a full buy-in 100% program for whoever's included in that student nucleus.
Good question. One back here. Yes.
Thanks for sharing your stories, and I mean, they're all very impressive. And I was wondering, at what point do students connect or engage with senior year or prior?
Well, College Choice is a 2-year program. Well, in terms of high school students, it starts, you can enter in your junior year or senior year. If you enter in your junior year will be mostly spent doing college visits and like improving your ACT score. And towards senior year, that's when you get into the actual process of applying to schools and seeing more schools and like narrowing down your choices to see your best fit. And even after high school, as Ms. Josephine said, it's a lifeline support network that really is so impactful.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. I personally know every one of these kids, and I'll just say 2 things. While they are terrific, they are not unique. The best natural resource we have in this city and this county are our kids. They just keep coming. They have limitless potential, and things like the College Choice Foundation, so many other great programs are doing incredible things to help them reach their potential. And I just don't know how anyone can leave here today without feeling tremendously optimistic that we have a bright future ahead. Thank you guys for doing so well today. And of course, I like Justin the best because he goes to Boston College. So we'll hope to see everyone next week as we hear from an outstanding panel spotlighting our regional park system, featuring Ruffner Mountain Executive Director Carly Sanford and your fellow Kiwanian, T.C. McLemore, with facilitator, President of Tate & Associates, Melva Tate. Have a great week. We are adjourned.